asked ChatGPT to make Byler happen. Now, I wouldn't go out of my way to use ChatGPT for much of anything, but especially for the fact that Season 5 Volume 2 has sparked quite a bit of controversy thanks to a lot of elements, including Will's coming out scene, which I ended up talking about in my last video. I felt like that maybe we should try AI to see if it would actually have a better plot point for what it would actually have for possibly Byler than how the Duffel brothers apparently are taking Byler as it is. As we know, Volume 2 isn't the shiniest tool in the shed. Some people like it, but most of the people didn't. Either if it's just for the sake of how the writing is, which the writing in itself for especially the Will Byler coming out scene wasn't exactly the best in the book. In fact, it could have been far better than what they actually planned it to be. For this video, I have 3 categories or 3 particular scenes that I planned on asking ChatGPT. The very first scene is the coming out scene in question. So this is going off when Mike is just walking in the room and basically about to walk out, and Will's just like,
wait, I think you need to hear this too. Everyone does.
After the crawl, aka just after the whole battle ends, seeing how it's so-and-so is. I'm not focusing on any of the characters besides Mike and Will. The last one, especially the last one. If that were to become a deeper relation after so-and-so. I got the scenes right here, so let's start them. I just wanted to get a baseline of what ChatGPT would come out with just to see if it is better than what the Duffel brothers would even write. And again, this is not a replacement against actual writers and producers. This is just for the sake of fun. Hope everybody realizes that. Season 5, Episode 7, At the Radio Station. The control room hums lightly. Red LED blinks outside the glass. Rain-soaked Hawkins glow under emergency lights. Okay, that's not immediately accurate, but...
Wait.
What?
I think you need to hear this too. Everyone does.
Mike slowly turns around. The door remains open behind him. Voice echoes faintly from the hall. Dustin laughing, Nancy arguing logistics. The world moving on without them. Well, we've got like 4 minutes. I know, I've been running out of time my whole life. All this fight, the upside down Vecna, it didn't take just years from us. It took words, and I'm done letting it. Mike's jaw tightens. He sensed the weight now. Okay, I'm listening. I've always been scared that I would say the wrong thing. That I said the true thing. Everything would fall apart. I didn't want to hurt you, or embarrass you, or make you feel that you failed me somehow.
Will.
Mom, please. Just let me finish.
No, I'm gay.
Words land. Clean. Certain. It'd probably be some close like, I just don't like girls or something like that, or... But whatever. Mike doesn't flinch. He just breathes. Okay. Will nods, grateful, but he presses on. And I know this isn't new information for you, but this is the part I never said out loud. The hum of the radio spikes with static, like the room itself is holding its breath. I loved you when we were kids. I loved you when we were lost. I loved you when you didn't notice me at all. Mike's eyes glisten. Well, I'm not asking you to feel the same. I never was. I just needed you to know that when I stood beside you, when I fought, when I stayed, it wasn't because I was weak. He studied himself. It's because I loved you, and because I love all of you. Silence. The others have drifted closer, drawn by the open door. Dustin, Lucas, Nancy. No one speaks. They just listen. Mike steps forward. You're not weak. You never were. He struggles, words catching. I didn't see you the way you needed me to, and I hate that. But nothing you just said changes how much you matter to me. Will nods, tears slipping free now. That's enough. That's always been enough. Joyce crosses the room and takes Will's hand. I am so proud of you for telling the truth even if the world is ending. Dustin clears his throat, voice gentle. For the record, you're still our wizard. Soft, shaky laughter ripples through the room. Mike exhales, glistening at the clock. Okay, 5 minutes are officially up. He meets Will's eyes, something new there. Not confusion, understanding. Let's go finish this. Will nods. Yeah, together. They move towards the door, radio crackles behind them, Hawking listening even if it doesn't know it yet. End scene. Now I will admit something. I will admit that when I looked at this scene, I was like, this is so much better than what the Duffer Brothers actually wrote. I'm gonna admit, there are some details that are slightly wrong. Like, some of the stuff is not exactly accurate. There isn't some stuff that... I mean, there are a few things which are kind of like, I could get, but this is like a lot better than what the Duffer Brothers came up with their coming out scene. The problem with that is the fact that it's like, why is this better? Why does this feel like it's much more emotionally connected than what came out of the Duffer Brothers? I feel like if this was actually the original scene with what they worked with, I mean, there'd be some small details that would have to change, yes. But if this was the original scene they had actually planned on doing, I think if anything, this would have perceived a lot better with just generally the audience. Like, it wouldn't really feel like anything's off, or it feels like it's going on for too long. That's one of the big things I was complaining about, is that it was too long, and the fact that it was just like, it just didn't feel like it connected as well. Like, it was like poorly perceived. The next one I went into is like basically after the battle with Vecna, getting all the kids rescued and everything. After crawl scene, go deeper into Mike's point of view about his feelings if he had any. So let's say he did have feelings. If there's a point where he did have feelings for any reason for Will, then this is the point. After the crawl, point of view, the crawl ends the way everything always does now. Too loud, too fast, the world doesn't care that your hands are still shaking. Mike doesn't remember who says we did it. He doesn't remember who laughs. He doesn't remember Will collapsing onto the steps outside the radio station, breath hitching like he's been underwater way too long. Mike sits beside him without thinking. For a while, neither of them speak. Mike stares at his hands. They're dirty, scraped, still real. He flexes them, grounding himself because his head hasn't stopped spinning since the control room. I loved you. The words wouldn't leave him alone. He's always thought love was loud, obvious, something that knocked you over like lightning. That's how it felt with Elle. Bright, intense, like the world narrowing down to one person. But Will's love hasn't been like that. It's been quiet. Mike realizes painfully that it had been everywhere. Every time Will waited for him to finish talking, every time he believed in Mike when Mike didn't believe in himself, every time he stayed even when it hurt, Mike pressed his palms to his knees. God, how did I not see it? Or worse, had he seen it or just never looked at himself directly at it? Will finally speaks, voice hushed. You okay? Mike almost laughs at the question. Yeah. No, I don't know. Will nods like that makes sense. They sit in silence again. The night air smells like ozone or wet concrete. Mike swallows. What you said back there, I kept replaying it. Will tenses behind him. Mike notices and hates himself for it. Not in a bad way, just I didn't know someone could feel that much and never say anything. I wasn't brave like you. Mike turns to him fast. That's not true. Will looks unconvinced. Mike struggles for words because this is the part no one ever taught him how to do. You think I didn't feel something? You think you were just invisible to me? Will catches his breath barely. Will looks away, voice quieter now, honestly in a way that scares him. I don't know what to call what I felt. I just know when you pulled away it hurt. And when you looked at me like I mattered, it did something to me. He shakes his head. I told myself it was just a friendship, that it had to be. Because anything else was too complicated. Will doesn't speak, he doesn't interrupt, and that somehow makes it harder. Mike forces himself to keep going. I don't know if I'm in love with you, and I don't want to lie to you by pretending I do. Will nods, blinking rapidly. But I know this. What I feel for you isn't nothing. it never was. Mike finally looks at him. Will's eyes are wet, but he's smiling, soft, sad, relieved. That's more than I ever expected. Mike's chest tightens. I'm scared I missed something important. Scared I hurt you without meaning to. You did. But you're here now. That hits harder than any accusation could. Mike exhales, shaky. I don't want to lose you. Not as my best friend, not as whatever this is. Will considers him carefully, like he's choosing his words the same way Mike is. Then don't run. That's all I'm asking. Mike nods. He thinks maybe love doesn't always arrive fully formed. Maybe sometimes it's something you grow into once you stop being afraid of naming it. Mike bumps Will's shoulder tentatively. We've survived hell. We can figure this out together. Will lets himself lean into the contact. Yeah. One step at a time. They sit there shoulder to shoulder, watching the dark sky lighten just a little. For the first time, Mike doesn't feel like the future is already decided, and that scares him. But it also feels quietly like hope. I don't know. Like, the problem is that you look at something and you're like, this shouldn't be as good as it is. And most of the time, like, it's because maybe it's the sense of hope of trying to hope that something's gonna happen, but I read this and I hear it, I have the images in my head of it when it happens and imagining it and that stuff. So the nice thing is I'm gonna try to get the baseline of actually how it's gonna look and everything like that. So what if they kissed? So this is basically going down from going from straight into that thing into that. They sit longer than Mike expects. The noise from inside the station fades. Footsteps move away. Someone laughs too loudly, like they're trying to convince themselves everything is over. It isn't. Will hugs his knees to his chest, staring into the cracked pavement. Mike keeps thinking to himself what he said. I don't know what to call what it felt. That still feels true. But so does this ache in his chest. The one that hasn't gone away since Will stood up in that room and told the truth like it could kill him. Mike clears his throat. Can I ask you something? Will nods, cautiously but open. Yeah. Mike hesitates, then. Have you ever wondered what it would have been like if things were different? Will breath stutters. He doesn't look at Mike right away. Every day. The answer lands hard. Mike turns towards him fully now. He studies Will's face, older than it used to be, sharper around the edges, but still Will. Still the boy who held his hand in the dark and trusted him with his life. Mike's voice is barely above a whisper. I don't know what this means. I don't know where this goes. Will finally meets his eyes. I'm not asking you to promise anything. A beat. I just don't want you to disappear too. I just don't want this moment to disappear too. Something shifts in Mike then. Fear giving away to clarity, if only for a second. He realizes this isn't about labels. It's about choice. Mike moves first, slowly enough that Will could pull away if he wanted to. He doesn't. Their foreheads touch. Both of them breathe in at the same time. If this is a mistake, then it's ours. That's enough. Mike closes the distance. The kiss is gentle, awkward, brief. It's not fireworks or lightning or the end of the world. It's warm. It's real. Mike pulls back first, heart pounding like he just jumped off a cliff. Will doesn't look shattered. He looks peaceful. They stare at each other, stunned. Okay. Will laughs softly, shaky but genuine. Okay. Mike rubs the back of his neck, overwhelmed, scared. Me too. Mike nods, but I don't regret that. Will's eyes shine. Neither do I. They don't kiss again. Not yet. Instead, they sit closer than before, shoulders pressed together like they're guarding something fragile but important. Whatever comes next, confusion, conversations, consequences, they'll face it awake together. This really reminds me of like that scene in season 2 where Mike is like,
Hey, well, if we're both going crazy, then we'll go crazy together, right?
Yeah. Crazy together.
God, it's one of those things where it's like hard for me to not look at this, and I'm like imagining the whole thing too, because the entire thing sounds really good in a way, because it's something that I know everybody's asking for. I know everybody's hoping by the finale that we're gonna get something that represents Byler is actually gonna be happening in the finale or something like that. I do want to say that all of these were genuinely good takes. All of these were better takes than, or actually, at least I could say for the coming out scene for episode 7 against what I just read out, it's actually a lot better than I ever thought it would be. And I could go back and make a few changes if I wanted to, but this was just the first result that came out for like actually going live and seeing what happens. So like genuinely, I'm just like shocked how good this actually ended up coming out as. For the rest of it, these last 2 scenarios, it feels better. It feels better than what it, like, I don't know, because it's like I'm genuinely like shocked and surprised about it, and I'm like, this looks like it would be a much better plot point than what would actually come out, like if the Duffer Brothers decided to rush Byler for any reason or something like that. But I would like to ask what you guys thought about these 3 scenarios, if these were actually, like, if actually were part of Stranger Things, like if these were actually a part of the plots, or even if for some reason, like, comparing these, like, what do you think? Never would I ever do something like this, but I genuinely thought that it would actually be kind of cool to see how ChatGPT would actually take Byler into place. So I will say thank you guys so much for watching this little video. Comment down below what you guys thought about these scenarios. Comment, like, subscribe, and I don't know if I will ever do something like this again. I'll see you guys later when I come back next year. Happy New Year. I hope Stranger Things, the finale, is a lot better than what we got in Volume 2. Bye.